I'm Roy Potter, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. Hi ladies and gentlemen, today is March 31st, 2017. And I just wanted to do this to send a message. Again, it probably won't go to where I really want it to, but I think it's important. You know, it's often said that you need to clean your own house out before you worry about somebody else's. And another way, it's take the beam out of your own eye before you try to tell somebody to take the mote out of theirs. I appreciate everything that Donald Trump is trying to do by and large. There are a few things, but that's not the point of this video. He wants to fix the country, and he knows that he needs to give the country CPR economically to keep it from falling and then going under full control of the NWO and the banks, and I understand that. But in my estimation, he has some problems in his own house, and I don't mean his family, okay? I'm talking about the executive branch. Jefferson said that no man's liberties are safe when the legislature is in session. And the Congress and legislatures in general are centers of corruption. They're supposed to represent the people, but that's been changed during the course of our history. The courts are corrupt. Look at what Judge Navarro is doing in Nevada and how they're actually prejudiced against the defendants rather than being the referee. In the executive branch, the DOJ, the EPA, the FBI, those are bureaus, but the FBI is. But the point is, they're out of control. And we understand now that there are leftist Marxists left behind in those agencies to mutiny against President Trump. And we're seeing that. And I recognize that that's part of the problem. But President Trump has got to continue on immediately with cleaning out the executive branch in all of the departments and bureaucracies. A few examples. DOJ down in Florida just fined a business for checking people for their IDs to make sure that they're not illegal aliens. The left hand in the DOJ doesn't know what the right hand is doing, or they're just ignoring the new policies which actually should follow the law, right? You have the FDA going after the Amish. You have the EPA and the BLM going after ranchers. You have in the Bundy trial, you have both in Oregon and in Nevada, you have the DOJ and the FBI using basically not just immoral tactics, but illegal ones in trying to ensure a conviction. And the judge in the case is not being a judge. She's not being a referee. She is making sure that the preponderance of the information goes against the defendants. And that sounds like a civil thing, but I'm just trying to make a point here. And I won't go into all the examples. And then we have the situation with Clinton, okay, where the FBI and the DOJ didn't go after her. And we're still not seeing that. Now, there might be some things going on behind the scenes, but those bureaucrats and those agents and those officers in those bureaucracies need to be reined in and fired. I worked as an Army officer where I had control over civil servants in the civil service. Right? There's ways to get rid of those people. And yes, there's a procedure, but you can do it. But you just need to get on it, President Trump. Just need to get on it. You have to, because you can't fix anything else if you've got these people stabbing you in the back and the American people they're stabbing in the back. I just talked about Clinton. I want to talk about another thing. I made a video the other day and I mentioned Harry Reid, and then somebody told me, hey, did you see the comment where, you know, a guy said that Harry Reid's in Nevada, not Utah? You know, that shows you how people don't really look at what's going on. I don't have the article here that I can give you the actual date that it came out, but it was in January in the Salt Lake Tribune, and it's talking about Harry Reid's more than likely involvement in a scandal that happened with two former Utah attorneys general. And this is what I was referring to, because people always associate Harry Reid with Nevada. The LDS Church, which Harry Reid is a member of, and I don't know why, he should have been excommunicated a long time ago for all the things he's done. But it's because, again, of the corruption network, and I'm going to say it, the pedophile network. I'm just going to say it, okay? It's rampant in Utah, and so is satanic ritual abuse. Now, I'm not going to go into all the explanations as to why that is, but what's happening is the important point. The DOJ and the FBI turn a blind eye again. Let me read you a couple things. This is from the Salt Lake Tribune. The reporters are T. Harvey and J. Dobner. And it was around in January. And this is what it says. I'm just going to read a couple of, well, more than a couple, a few sentences here. First, federal authorities have stymied his effort, the prosecutor in Utah, leaving Rawlings to wonder why. Were agents ordered to steer clear of that money trail? And if so, by whom? In short, was there a cover-up? Even at the state level, though, Rawlings' push for funding for a grand jury also stalled. Why? Because Reid is part of the LDS Church. Attorney General Reyes' office has not turned over any funds for such an inquiry despite months of negotiations. Johnson's encounter with the FBI came after the DOJ had aborted an investigation of then Utah Attorney General John Swallow and his predecessor Mark Shurtleff without filing charges. The FBI, via the Salt Lake City field office, was willing, field agents, okay? So we're talking about top-level people where the corruption is, and a lot down below as well, but listen to this. The FBI, via the Salt Lake City field office, was willing to investigate these allegations, wanted to actively engage, Rawlings said. The Salt Lake office was taking steps to do so, but then suddenly they were not. And that happened to me also in my case, personal case with the FBI, which I've talked about on a couple of times when I went to them with a civil rights violation. Let me read a couple more sentences here because these are really important to show you what's going on. Investigative documents show federal agents had plenty of questions about Swallow's business and political ties, but little interest in pursuing a case that might lead to Harry Reid. Do you see what's going on here? Reid and Clinton, with all the corruption they have in they're neck deep, okay, with China, with Russia. And yet we hear all these accusations against Trump because sociopaths accuse others of what they themselves are doing. And what's happening in the executive agencies is they're helping to cover up this corruption at those levels and then go after little people that are just trying to do normal human behavior. Milk farming by the Amish, ranching by the ranchers. Do you see? Federal agencies have provided Rawlings with millions of pages of documents related to their investigation of Shurtleff. But the Davis County prosecutor's repeated requests to get at information regarding Reid have been blocked, which ultimately helped tank his criminal case against Shurtleff, according to Rawlings' statements and court filings. Rawlings said he has been told by federal authorities to forget Harry Reid. And what did the DOJ do with the NYPD on the win your laptop deal? Oh, if you keep exposing this, we're going to come after the officers that were involved in the Eric Garner case. Do you see what's happening here? It's not about justice. It's not about truth. Okay, I think you see my point. President Trump, Attorney General Sessions, you have to stop trying to fix the big picture until you've cleaned in and cleaned out your house, the executive branch. It's got to start there, not otherwise. Because that's where the damage is done. Those are the enforcers. And the enforcers have to be chained by the Constitution. End of story. I know you're trying to give CPR to the people of the United States, to our economy, and I understand that. But with those enforcers there stabbing them and you in the back, it's not going to be successful. You're going to have to, again, as so many people said, go on the offensive. This is a war, President Trump. And as I said in the last video, when the king of Rohan and the Lord of the Rings said, I'm not willing to bring war upon my people, King Aragorn told him, well, war is upon you whether you like it or not. You're going to have to act. And we're all starting to wonder why. Now, there's probably big investigations going on behind the scenes and you want to get it all together. I understand investigations take a long time. But you can start with some of the cronies that are doing these things, like what happened in Florida with the DOJ filing those fines against that business for not hiring illegals, asking for ID. I mean, those are simple things that can be done. You can't allow this to happen. If you don't have people in positions of management that will act, then get some. And you've got to act quickly, and you've got to act now. Okay, that's all for today. At least this video. Thanks. Out here.